was open on Tuesday morning when I came out. But when I went home on Saturday morning, oh my God.
Yeah, I heard it's really bad. So KAA was actually yesterday back, and then
Oh,
I drove back out. And he said it's a long time for a month.
and they're still kind of
Aloha kakahiaka kākou. E hiku minuke I ka hala o ka hola eiva, ma umi kumaiwa o malaki I ka makahiki e lua kaukani iwa ka lua kumaono o keia ka pō mahina o hilo I nāna e olu mai e ho'omalu ke KŌMIKE aloha ʻāina o wau o Kiani Rollins Fernandez, ka luna ho'omalu o keia KŌMIKE. It is 9:07 on March 19, 2026, in the season of Nana, in the moon phase of Hilo. Will the KŌMIKE Aloha ʻāina please come to order? I'm your chair, Kiani Rollins Fernandez. There are currently no testifiers at the Molokai District Office. And the members, in accordance with Sunshine Law, if you're not joining the meeting from the council chamber, please identify by name who, if anyone, is in the room, vehicle, or workspace with you today. Unless you're in a public place, minors do not need to be identified. Please see the last page of the agenda for information on meeting connectivity. I keia la, me ko kako e a hopeluna ho'omalu o Tamara Paulton, who is multitasking right now. Aloha.
Aloha kakayaka kako, streaming live and direct from the Cameron Center. I'm at a public place because everybody's giving blood. I don't know everybody's names though. That's it.
Mahalo, Committee Vice Chair Paulton, and mahalo for your support of the community in that capacity. Member Cook is excused. And then Member Batangan, Kawanoi Batangan, will be joining us at 9:30. With us in the chamber, we have Committee Member Alice Lee. Aloha.
Aloha, Chair, and ciao to everyone. Looking forward to your meeting. Thank you.
Mahalo, Chair Lee, and mahalo for the sugar. You may regret it later. With us in the chamber, we have Committee Member Shane Senensi. Aloha.
Aloha kakaiaka kākou o hauoli o wau ma'anehi, ahoe mea kanaka me ka mana o ma kahikina, and happy to be here.
Mahalo, Member Senensi. And joining us online, likely from upcountry, we have Committee Member Yukile Sugimura.
Good morning, everybody. Ciao. It was drizzling a little bit here, so we still have rain up country, and looking forward to a productive meeting. Thank you.
And is there, do you have anyone in your workspace?
I have nobody in my workspace, although my husband is on this floor, but he's not in my business office. Thanks.
Okay, mahalo. And I did receive the note that you will need to leave at 11:30 today. Okay. We have two non-voting committee members, Councilmember Gabe Johnson and Councilmember Nohelani U'uhajins, who are always welcome to join us. From the administration, joining us today from the Department of Agriculture, Kali Arsi, Director, Koehawaheva, Deputy Director, Ana Mejia Vasconcelos, Grants Coordinator, Department of Environmental Management, Shane Agawa, Director, William J., Environmental Program Specialist, Environmental Protection and Sustainability Division. From our committee staff, we have Committee Secretary Lori Ann Tengan, Senior Legislative Analyst Casey Apo Takayama, Legislative Analyst Kristen Sabo, Legislative Attorney Megan Moniz, and Council Services Assistant Clerk Leigh Deneen. We have 3 items on today's agenda. Ka papahana ha'awina kala li'i no ka mahi'ai, Agricultural Microgrant Program. Mana'o ho'okele ma lama ʻāina a ho'oholuholu, Climate Action and Resiliency Plan. And kalilo ana o ke kalana o Maui I au puni o lelo pālua, Maui County's transition to a bilingual government. Since these items are 7B presentations with no legislative action, we will jump straight into opening remarks and presentations before receiving testimony. So I will ask staff to welcome our resource personnel to the front. I think the others will be joining online so that they can get comfortable while I do the opening remarks. And then the chair's intention is to complete today's agenda by noon. I think about an hour per item should be sufficient. The House Committee on Water and Land has scheduled SB 1432, the bill regarding the House Committee, the bill regarding the transition of Kalawao County to Maui County today, starting at 9. Of course. It's the last item on their agenda, so I intend to break for recess when that item is taken up. My staff is monitoring that hearing for me. Are there any objections to proceeding that way? Mahalo, members. Okay. So our first item, Kapapahana Ha'awina Kala Li'ili'i no Kamahi'ai, Agricultural Microgrant Program. Joining us for the first agenda item today, we have Director Kali Arce from Department of Agriculture, Grants Coordinator Ana Mejia Vasconcelos, Executive Director of the Maui Economic Opportunity, Maggie Batangan, BDC Director Maui Economic Opportunity, David Daly. If there are no objections, members, I would like to designate the persons listed as resource persons under Rule 18A of the Rules of the Council. Are there any objections?
No objections.
Mahalo, members. Last budget session, our council supported my budget priority to condition $100,000 of the agricultural microgrant funding to data collection for the purpose of better understanding the positive impact this investment has had in our ag industry. Deputy Director Heva, his team, and I have met with Director Batangan, Mr. Daly, and now Ms. Raven Uyechi on the plan for this data collection, and we were just all really excited by the plan that we've mapped out, and I wanted to take this up in KAA to give everyone enough time to discuss this before budget session started. We'll proceed in this order. For opening remarks, I'll call on Director Arce, followed by Executive Director Batangan, then BDC Director Daly. Okay, aloha, Director Arce. Mahalo for joining us today. I'm sorry, Director. We can't hear you in the chamber at the moment. Not yet. I can read your lips, but no audio. I'm sorry? Okay, staff is asking if you have selected your mic. The other problem that I have sometimes is if I've used Teams and Zoom, I have to close out completely of any other online platform. So sometimes when I use Zoom and I go back to Teams, there's no audio on Teams until I close out of Zoom completely. So maybe what we can do is we'll come back to you, Director Arce, while we figure out the audio on that, and then we'll go to Executive Director Batangan. And I also see Ms. Debbie Kabibi in the gallery. Mahalo for joining us this morning. Ms. Batangan. I know you know how to operate everything.
Yes, thank you so much, Chair. As the Chair mentioned, my name is Maggie Batangan, and I am the Executive Director at MEO. I have the great privilege of jumping in at year 6 of this micro ag grant, which is wonderful because it is a well-established program that I get to help take credit for. But in my completely biased opinion, I will say that I think this data collection project is a prime example of accountability and responsible stewardship of funds, because we're looking at outcome data to inform future funding and to see the actual impacts of farmers. So, so far we've gone back and culled data from fiscal years 21 through 24. Of that data, we've seen some really promising trends. So we've awarded over 400 grants, well, to over 400 awardees, excuse me. Mainly the types of products that they produce are fruits and vegetables, the vast majority. And the vast majority of farms saw positive impacts in increased production of those food products. So there's very promising outcomes. And as Chair mentioned, we're also moving forward with administering a survey. So a post-funding awards survey for people in the community who have received these funds. So we hope to have a very robust data report by the end of this grant period. We're also in the midst of working on administering the funds for this fiscal year as well. So we also have plans that we can talk about later too in regards to farmers who have been impacted by the recent flooding. And so we can speak to that later as well. Thank you, Chair.
Mahalo, Ms. Batangan. Mr. Daly, did you want to add anything? And I do see committee member Kawanoi Batangan joining us, and I'll let him get settled in before I acknowledge him. Anything else you want to add, Mr. Daly? Okay. Okay, good. Okay. We can check with Director RC. I hear sound. I don't know if that's from her. Okay.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Mahalo.
Okay, great. Thank you, Shen. Good morning, Chair and committee members. Thank you, KŌMIKE ALOHA ʻāINA Committee for having the Department of Agriculture in your meeting this morning. Both Deputy Director Heva Heva and our grant coordinator, Ana Mejia Vasconcelos, are not available this morning, so I'm stepping in at the last moment. I'll be providing opening remarks for this meeting, and I apologize, but I need to step out at 9:30. This morning, an update on the agriculture microgrant program will be presented by MEO, by new Chief Executive Director Maggie Batangan. Congratulations, and BDC Director David Daly. The Department of Agriculture has funded the agriculture microgrant program from its grant subsidy since fiscal year 24. MEO has received from the Department of Agriculture $2 million in fiscal year 25 and $3.1 million in fiscal year 26, of which $100,000 supports data collection. This program has supported agriculture producers across our 3 islands. These farmers are helping to improve food security in their communities while also making available locally grown, fresh, healthy food to our residents. We look forward to learning about the impacts these grants have on farmers that are recipients of this Maui Economic Opportunity Grant Program. Mahalo. Received from the Department of Agriculture $2 million.
Mahalo, Director RC. And I think there may, if someone is watching the meeting with the audio on, we can hear it in the background.
Agriculture producers across our 3 islands. These farmers are helping to improve.
Director RC.
While also making available locally.
We can just mute Ms. Director RC for now. Okay, and then I'll recognize committee member Kawanoi Batangan. Aloha.
Aloha kakahiaka chair members. Good to be here. For the record, I am conflicted out of this item, and so will not be participating in discussion.
Okay, Mahalo. All right. We will now,
7B.
we'll go to public testimony. And then I know Director RC said she will have to leave in a few minutes. So mahalo for stepping in regarding this and providing opening remarks. Okay. Testifiers wanting to provide testimony should sign up in the back of the community's in the lobby. Join the online meeting via the tiny URL link to connect to the Zoom meeting or call in to the phone number and enter the meeting code noted on today's agenda. Written testimony can be submitted via the e-comment link at mauicounty.us/agendas. For individuals wishing to testify via Zoom, please use the raise hand function by clicking on the raise your hand button on the bottom bar. Staff will ask you to enable your microphone and video prior to your turn to testify. You can unmute yourself when you are called on by clicking on the microphone and camera buttons in the lower left portion of the screen. For those calling in, please follow the prompts via phone. Press *9 to raise your hand. And when it is your turn to testify, press *6 to unmute. Staff will add names to the testifier list in the order testifiers sign up or raise their hands. For those on Zoom, staff will lower your hand once your name is added. I will then call the name you're logged in under or the last 4 digits of your phone number when it's your turn to testify. Please ensure your name appears in Zoom as the name you prefer to be referred to or as anonymous if you wish to testify anonymously. If you're in person, please notify staff that you would like to testify anonymously. Otherwise, please state your name for the record at the beginning of your testimony. Oral testimony is limited to 3 minutes. Staff has been monitoring individuals joining today's meeting by phone and by video, and we'll do our best to take each person up in an orderly fashion. Staff will now call on the first testifier. Sorry, I didn't pull up the link. I don't see anyone. Okay, I don't see anyone on the list, but I do see an individual, Mr. Law, approaching the podium. Please proceed, Mr. Law.
Kanaka Law. Thank you for, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. And I mean everybody, the people on TV and the people in the audience too. I just heard on the radio this morning that the price of vegetables was up like 100%. So I want to thank everybody for, yeah, we got to do something now. And I save the rest of my time for the Kanaka o Maui.
Mahalo, Mr. Law. Okay, we'll do a last call for testifiers on this first agenda item. If anyone wishes to testify, you may please unmute yourself now. Hearing no one speaking up, we'll close public testimony on this first item and we'll continue to receive written testimony. Are there any objections, members? Okay. Aloha. Okay. Mahalo again to our resource persons for your opening remarks. Members, I will now open the floor for discussion on the Agricultural Microgrant Program, beginning with questions for, since we have 4 more minutes with Director RC, if anyone has questions for Department of Ag, we can start there and then we can go back to our resource persons in the chamber. Committee Member Lee.
Thank you. Director RC, you talked about, I think, this Ag Grant Program 6.0 applicant data, is that from your office or from MEO? Or from MEO? Okay, but you do evaluate your program on an ongoing basis, right, Director?
Yes.
Okay, so my concern is if we have been dependent on our food supply 90% from outside sources, are we looking at what my colleague always calls the unmet needs? Or are we just supporting farmers who like to grow tomatoes, who like to grow potatoes? I mean, is there a connection between need and what we're trying to supply?
We are supporting farmers and agriculture producers that we, seem to think that they are going to be successful in improving the food supply, whether they're startup or larger operations.
But wouldn't it make sense to support those farmers who supply items that we actually need, as opposed to, let's say we have an overabundance at Costco and all the big suppliers? Shouldn't we look at what our producers can succeed at, can excel at, and not have to compete with the large the large stores?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Our role is not to dictate what they can grow, but we are here to support their, their production. We have other agencies like CTAR that we work with and NRCS that help to direct them in the right direction, especially with this drought period, to kind of look at other food production that we can grow in accordance with the weather. I believe it has to start somewhere. It's up to the farmer what they want to grow. So as long as they're growing food, I believe that we're making a step in the right direction.
But yeah, they're growing food, but if it doesn't make any difference in terms of our over-reliance on outside sources, I mean, shouldn't there be some rhyme and reason for why we're subsidizing farmers? Not only because we support the idea of diversified ag, but that diversified ag should make some kind of sense in terms of what the needs are, so that we can help them become successful, so that they can become self-reliant. You see what I'm saying? These are steps toward their own independence, right?
Yes, that's the reason why we're trying to develop a baseline foundation on what is here now. We just started a couple years ago, and we're slowly gathering information based on what was happening in the past as it got transferred to the department.
Okay.
And as we build that baseline data, we'll be able to know more of where we can help with increasing production in those areas that we're lacking food in.
Thank you. I know other people want to ask questions. Chair, I noticed that the cover of the mic is gone. I was going to steal hers, but she just came, so we need one.
Steal Member Johnson's.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We'll return it after. And then I'll just add, Director RC, that your department also developed the Food and Nutrition Security Plan that's also helping to guide the county so that we can provide the food that our community needs support with.
Yes, that's correct. And we're also working with planning to develop a section in the county-wide policy that includes food security. And we also have the dashboard that has various layers of the food systems, which will be available on our website sometime soon. So that will have many layers of food systems. So that will also be a help for our department and our county.
Mahalo, Director. I see that it's 9:31. Member Senensi had a question. No. If you have a second to
Okay,
answer.
real quick. I was just wondering, Director, when we look at some agriculture programs, say on the mainland, where they're trying to get fresh produce to underserved communities, has the department looked where high concentration of maybe low-income families that might have a need for, or possibly was just recently kicked off of SNAP, where they cannot get some fresh food. Has the department looked at some of these underserved communities and maybe supported some of the farmers in those areas so that they can quickly get to some of these underserved populations?
Yes, yeah, thank you for asking that. Our food access coordinator, Lauren, has already begun collecting that kind of information and has brought some of that information from her background when she was with Healthy Initiatives Program, I believe, under the Department of Health. And as you know, we did secure 2.2 million for HANA to help with their food security, which they'll use for their development of their kitchen. So yes, we've been working with those rural communities as well as Molokai and Lanai.
Mahalo, Director, for that, because I think with the aggregation center, farmers can go ahead and do value-added products that they can ship, export outside of the community as well as in the community. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Mahalo, Member Sinensi. Okay, Member Paulton just joined us in the chamber, and just to catch you, I think you were listening the whole time, but Director RC it has to leave. So we're gonna let her go unless you had like a super burning question. We also have MEO with us who can answer specific questions about the microgrant program.
I think I asked her in the overview, but I don't know if she got the answer between then and now about if we are affected by the fertilizer in the Strait of Hormuz situation.
Director?
No, I did not get the answer.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mahalo, Director, for staying a little longer to answer some of the members' questions. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Lamai.
All right. Mahalo.
Okay, members, I'll put 3 minutes on the clock for questions with MEO. And I'll go by raise of hands. Member Lee.
Maggie, hi. I'm sure you feel very comfortable in these chambers. I'd be asking you the same question as Director RC.
Yes, thank you, Chair Lee. Of course, I can only speak to our piece of the puzzle with these micro grants and the specific funding, but I will say that as part of their application, the farmers submit a farm's needs statement, and part of how the grant is evaluated is based on their scale of food production that goes to our community. So whether they're small scale, moderate scale, large scale, or fully operational, if you're a fully operational food production farm that is serving our community, that is accounted for in our decision-making for awarding the grants. So although that's just a small piece of the puzzle, that's part of the approach we've been taking to make sure that we're addressing needs within our community on the largest scale that we can with these micro grants.
Okay, so let's say our department doesn't have the resources or the time to do a more comprehensive study. Would you be able to do that? And I'm talking about, rather than asking the little farmer who just is starting out, can we check with Costco and ask them, and check with Foodland and check with Safeway, all the big supermarkets, where do they get their food from? What kind of volume do they order, so that we know what kinds of foods that they need, because the idea is not to subsidize little farmers for the rest of their lives. The idea, this is a business venture, and we want them to succeed and fill gaps, where it's not being filled now. So would you be interested in doing something like that if the department can't do it?
I'm not sure that we have the in-house expertise at this moment to do something like that, but I will say that we have been working collaboratively with the department to talk about how these grants can address food security moving forward. And part of our role in that is the data collection process. So I am hopeful that we would be able to direct our data gathering efforts in a way that would probably address your questions on a large scale. But I know that the Food, Nutrition, and Security Plan is being actively worked on by the department, and they have asked for our assistance in different areas.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Mahalo, Member Lee. I'll add that in our discussions, it takes time. So some of the funding, some of the grants, we're supporting expansion of infrastructure. There's been 5 years of grants that have been issued, and so as the farm operations expand, the hope is that it'll build capacity as they go, so that they can scale up, as you're noting in your question. At least that's the hope. Part of the challenge that was shared by Deputy Director Heva is that the income that farmers have to rely on the farm is still difficult to live off of, and sometimes it forces folks out of farming business alone. So that's one of the challenges that we're hoping to capture in the survey that Executive Director Batangan shared in her opening remarks. Yeah.
I fully understand what you're saying, and I can see for the time being, the best thing that the county can do is to improve the administration of the grants, to get them out in a timely manner. And that's on us. And that's how we can help people succeed. But, for the near term, but for the long term, we need to know what the master plan is. Okay, thank you.
Mahalo, Member Lee. And I don't disagree with the other grants, but with the micro grants, the way it's administered is a little different than the way we administer the other grants. If Ms. Batangan, you would speak to that, please.
Yes, so we are administering the program on behalf of the county. This has allowed us to be very nimble and to get funds out to people quickly once our grant is executed with the county. And we've been very grateful for the Department of Ag's partnership in that. I will also say the numbers that you see before you are from 90-day impact surveys from the farmers who have received these grants. So we are seeing big changes in their operations very quickly. And I think that's especially encouraging to see. With this little bit of support, they're able to make large-scale impacts for their personal production capabilities.
Mahalo, Member Lee. Okay, Member Senensi, followed by Member Sugimura.
Okay, thank you, Chair. And I too kind of wanted to add to your line of questioning. Is there a portion of the grant where, and Member Rollins Fernandez talked about building up the infrastructure, is there almost like a cohort of sorts where some of the applicants are working with the other ones to share some of their resources? Say, for instance, one of them might use their funds to get a tractor, the other ones didn't. Can they use, are they going beyond their farms, creating more of a kind of like a cohort, or is one working on getting more mulch that they can share with the other farmers that don't have to purchase it at costs? Those types of things to kind of build out not just one farm, but a collection of farms. And then maybe the next step would be, hey, you've been successful with this product. Maybe we'll send you, classes or something that you can, start on the next level or the next step of farming, something like that. I'm just throwing it out there.
Mahalo, Member Senensi, for that question. And the grant doesn't require, I think that would be community driven. If folks wanted to resource pool in that way. I know that on Molokai, there is an effort with the members of Hawaii Farmers Union to create that kind of sharing of equipment and tools. I'll invite MEO to add anything else that.
Thank you for that.
Yes, I think that's a great explanation. The only thing I will add is that I think we very much see this grant being sort of the step after people hui up. So they come to us once they have assessed what is needed outside of the resources that they've already pooled and already have. So we're able to come in and fill that gap.
That next step. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you, Chair.
Mahalo, Member Sinensi. Member Sugimura, followed by Member Bolton.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, Member Sinensi asked the question that I've been hearing in the community. So thank you, Member Sinensi, about sharing, equipment that other farmers may have. And it's nice to hear that there may be an effort on Molokai or with Hawaii Farmers Unions. I hope that they do that here on Maui, however that can happen. MEO, do you have a thought on that as to how we can support that to also happen here on Maui?
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Member Sugimura, for the question. Like I said, I think our role is stepping in once they have sort of started that assessment of what is missing outside of these groups that they're able to do the sharing with. But we're happy to support that in any way that we can moving forward.
Okay. And also, I'm really glad that you are doing this study, right? Because all this money, this is like the 6th year, and what is the outcome? So thank you. I think it was Member Rollins Fernandez who put that in the budget, to make sure that this happened, and maybe we should look at it for other grants of this magnitude to see its effectiveness. The other thing is, I don't know if you heard, like maybe a year ago, I heard the City and County of Honolulu were talking about how they're now supporting ag, and I thought, oh, they copied Member Rollins Fernandez, because there's a pot of money, I don't know what department that they have, but it's doing something very similar, to support ag and to, build the industry. So kudos to you twice on that. The other question I have is that can a farmer apply twice for this pot of money in different years, of course? And especially if we're talking about them growing their business, so at some point, do they then become eligible because they are expanding their capabilities and they need help to take it further? Or is it one time and that's it?
Mahalo for that question, Member Sugimura. The condition that we put on this funding that we all voted on was that the preference would go to first-time applicants first, and then if there are applications of folks that may not qualify or hit the marks, then we would look at applicants that have received grants. I will add that Kula, the district, receive some of the most grants, 105. So they're definitely benefiting from this program. Ms. Batangan?
There's a study that I don't have. Did it come by email?
Yeah, it was just distributed this morning, and staff is working on uploading it to Granicus.
I hear the.
Oh, it's on Granicus already. Okay, it's on Granicus already. So you can see some of that. And like was shared earlier, we just planned out how the data collection will happen, and I was just really excited to share this with you folks before we go into budget, because they'll be working hard to collect data based on some of the questions that we worked on together with the Department of Ag that will help to paint the picture of the impact that this investment has had on our community, so that after the data collection is done, we'll have more specific answers. But I wanted the committee to also like have an opportunity to provide feedback as well at the beginning of data collection. Ms. Batangan, did you want to add anything I missed?
No, I think that covers most of it. I will just say that, the data that we have now has already told us a wonderful story, and this is just from the basic grant reporting data that we receive from people after they've received the grants. So I'm very confident that with our survey data coupled with evaluating this data we already have, it will tell a really good story about not only where we met needs, but where needs may still remain, or maybe where farmers have continued to struggle after these grants, or where they've succeeded because of it. So just based on the work that we've done so far, I'm very hopeful that we will have a very thorough and robust story to tell.
Mahalo. Mahalo, Member Sugimura. Member Paulton.
Thank you. I'm stoked to have this before budget so we can have the facts and the data and that you compiled it for us so we don't have to. So I'm looking at the green sheet, and is this just applicants or were they awarded?
Batangan.
Thank you, Chair. These are just the applicants for this year. So the application has closed and we're processing what they've turned in so far, but we just wanted to be able to include that data in some capacity.
Great. And then some of the folks, do they fall into more than one category? Okay. I can't remember if we restricted flower producing farms.
We
Are
did.
they allowed?
You did, and we supported it. Yeah.
We restricted or we allowed?
We set aside a condition for.
Oh, great.
And it looks like there are nine. Yeah. Applicants.
I saw that they were considering banning the purple flower lei, so we gotta build up our local industry before I don't know if it's gonna pass at the state, but it's a good conversation. The other question I had, other than the startup farms, is everybody selling their I don't know if you call it a produce if it's animals, but selling their outputs or items?
Mr. Daly.
Can you ask that question one more time, a little louder?
Oh, sure, sorry. Aside from the startup farms, are the rest of the applicants selling their products?
They are producing. I would say the majority are selling, but there are quite a few that, what they're producing and growing is actually distributed and donated, either within families or to other organizations.
Okay, and then I heard in the opening comments, I think from Ms. Batangan, that you guys have noticed trends of success. Could we dive deeper into that, of what they are and how we're continuing to support those trends, or whatever we need to know to make those types of decisions to support the trends of success?
Ms. Batangan.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. So some of the trends of success are shown in this handout that you have under the primary farm impacts information. So we've seen for the vast majority of farms increased production. We've seen increased revenue for folks that applies to. We've also seen pretty substantial numbers in terms of increased safety and health, which is very encouraging. Marketing and visibility and increased business acumen, I think we can see that those are probably areas for opportunity where we can offer access to additional resources for folks so that they feel supported in that area as well. And then we're confident that our data specialists will also be looking into the other impacts category and kind of fleshing that out for you folks in our full report.
Thank you. And then I'm kind of interested, I don't know if closed loop systems are the correct word, but I see fruits and vegetables, livestock and poultry, and like that. And do they link up together? Like if you have off-grade fruit or non-consumable fruit to give to the livestock and poultry, and then what comes out of the livestock and poultry go back to the fruit and vegetables so they taste better, and like that sort of closed loop systems. Like are you able to connect the producers of each with each other? Because the fertilizer that we import is mostly like petroleum based, and why panic if it's organic?
Batangan.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's a very interesting question, and I think it's somewhere where if we were to ask the Department of Agriculture how we can best word that question to our farmers. One of the things that I think is really exciting is that by keeping contact with these farmers, it gives us a unique opportunity to have those lines of communication opened already and staying in contact with them moving forward. So I think that could provide a good opportunity for gathering that type of information.
Thank you so much. My next round is going to be fish questions.
Mahalo, Committee Vice Chair Bolton. Okay, any other questions? We'll go to round 2. Starting with Committee Vice Chair Bolton.
Thank you. Can you educate us about the 7 fish, the fish products with the 7 paren? Is it like aquaponics or real fish ponds, local ʻI'a, or what? Or do they catch the fish from the ocean? How does that work?
Mr. Daly.
So if you could kindly repeat the question.
Sure. Can you educate us about the fish grants? Like, where do those fish come from? Is it all aquaponics? Is it local ʻI'a? Is it from the ocean, tide pools, or?
It would all be through aquaponics that I am aware of. I would say maybe there's a handful at best that have applied that are currently using aquaponics as part of their production.
Is it like tilapia, trout, catfish, mullet?
That's a valid question. I'm going to assume it's tilapia, but unless they provide that information, we're not asking that, but we can.
Yeah, because I remember up country they had this big operation, and then when the power went out, all the fish died, which was really unfortunate. So when you award the fish grants, do you ask that kind of question if they have backup power systems? Because I was really impressed with his operation, and so sad that it went under, and now we're having big power outages again. And so have we learned from those other people's experiences or whatever?
So we have not gone to that depth of infrastructure outside of a request for certain power-related solar operations for existing farms, but we can obviously ask that question for sure.
Sorry, I will just add to that as well. So when the farmers submit their farm needs statement, David is quite modest about this, but his area of expertise is really looking into the sustainability of these folks' businesses and how that can be supported. So that type of infrastructure and having food production capabilities would be something that would likely be contained in their farm needs statement. So when it comes to what type of fish people are producing, we could probably cull that data from the needs statements that we have.
And then the other part about increased marketing and visibility, I just was wondering if having a marketing on the Ag Department's website, these people are promoted by micro grants, check them out, try their produce or something, that could be a value added bonus to the micro grant. And then, like, you know, we're like, oh, this is our taxpayer-funded dollars at work. I want to try their bananas or trout or whatever it is, like trout chips. Because sometimes you can just fry up the bones and it's good.
Mahalo, Member Fulton. Ms. Batangan?
Thank you, Chair. We provide an incredible amount of data on these applicants and grants to the Department of Ag, so I am positive that they would have the information from us to be able to pursue something like that if they wanted to.
Yeah, like, I mean, if they even just have their logo and just put it up on a spreadsheet on the site, like, I'll check them out.
Mahalo, Committee Vice Chair Paulton. Okay, seeing no other questions, and SB 1432 is coming up next. We're gonna take our morning recess. I wanna thank Executive Director Batangan, Mr. Daly, Ms. Uyachi for joining your wonderful team, and Ms. Kabibi, mahalo for being with us in person as well today. Members, if there are no objections, we'll defer this item. Any objections?
No objections.
Okay, and then we'll take a recess to 10:10. Okay, KŌMIKE Aloha ʻāINA is now in recess. flexibility. Next on our agenda is flexibility. Next on our agenda is, let's see, Mana'o ho'okele ma lama ʻāINA ho'o holu holu, Climate Action and Resiliency Plan. For this item, we'll receive a development update on the public dashboard for the 2025 approved Climate Action and Resiliency Plan. Joining us today for this second item, we have Director Shane Agawa from Department of Management and Mr. William J., Environmental Program Specialist from EPNS under DEM. If there are no objections, members, I would like to designate Director Agawa and Mr. J as resource persons in accordance with Rule 18A of the Rules of the Council. Any objections?
No objections.
Okay. And I will, let me see. Through the passage of Bill 136, 2024, we established Chapter 20.44, Climate Action and Resiliency Plan. We added 20-44-050D, an online dashboard must track the progress of the plan's specific recommendations by December 31st. The online dashboard must be accessible from the county's website upon approval of the plan and must be updated on a monthly basis. Okay. Director Agawa is also multitasking. He's in a MEMA storm briefing, so hopefully he's able to step away for a second. I know he really wanted to try. Oh, he's trying to log on. Do you see him? Oh, you just let him in. Okay, perfect. Okay. Mahalo nui, Director Agawa, for stepping away from your meeting to provide opening remarks. Director.
Thanks for communication. Good morning, members. Just want to thank you for this opportunity to provide an update to the CARP and to showcase all the hard work that our EPNS division has been doing to work on the CARP. Today we have William J., who's the head of our environmental program section, for our EPNS division. He'll be giving you a presentation, and he can also help with Q&A.
So our department is currently still in an active
Mahalo,
state of
Director.
response, monitoring the incoming
Mr. J.
conditions.
Let's see. Good? All right. Morning, everybody. Thanks for having me today. I'm here to provide an update on a few questions that you all had and concerning the Climate Action and Resiliency Plan, primarily the plan itself, the dashboard, implementation progress, and upcoming milestones. It's on?
Okay, and then we're gonna share screen.
Yeah. All right.
And then if you could speak directly into the mic.
Got it. Better?
Better. There we go.
All right. Okay,
Oh, if
there
you
we
could
go.
close that
Okay.
blue box.
All right, so just a few short slides here. The overview, just going through, is the CARP itself, as it's often referred, Climate Action and Resiliency Plan, the dashboard, progress and upcoming milestones. So as it stands right now, this is kind of an overview of what it'll look like if you go online and you pull up the County of Maui's Climate Action and Resiliency Plan. It was solicited, I believe, in 2020 and adopted in 2022. So we're coming up on a period where we've been asked to update the plan, which I'll get into some specifics shortly here. The principal objectives, as identified in Ordinance 5756 in 2024, It's a bill for establishing a climate action and resiliency plan for the county of Maui. Some of the key components include, but aren't limited to, transitioning to 100% renewable energy, achieving net negative carbon emissions, strategies and action items being updated every 10 years, and an online dashboard being posted so that we can track the progress and that there's transparency in the action items. There's a deadline of 2045 for these objectives, primarily for transitioning towards renewable energy and achieving net negative carbon emissions. There was a deadline to have the dashboard online and active, I believe, December 31st, 2025. So we got that compliant phase 1, as we call it. I'll get into phase 2 as well. So this is just a short description of the overview and purpose if you haven't seen this before. There's 10 overarching categories, 47 strategies, 167 action items as it stands right now. And if you go to mauicounty.gov /CARP, C-A-R-P, it'll pull up the dashboard itself, which will give you access to the PDF file of the planet itself, as well as all of the strategies listed by their current status. And you can click into each strategy and see each individual action item. There are indicators there to show whether or not has been started, hence, in planning or in progress, if it's not started, and if it's complete. Looking at some of the other programs and plans across the state of Hawaii, we are one of the only ones that is currently tracking their progress actively in this type of way, transparently. So this is something that was put online, I believe, in November of 2025, and we'll have some updates to it in the future. Upcoming milestones. So a few upcoming milestones for the Climate Action Resiliency Plan are updating the plan itself. I know many people refer to it as the CARP as it stands right now, and the Olelo, it'll be ʻAINA. Another aspect of it will be hiring and onboarding a person to assist with the plan itself, collecting metrics, data, information, and getting that channeled to the dashboard. So yes, metric collection is part of it. We've started collecting metrics by each MOKU from some of our sustainability grants. That will be a part of phase 2 in terms of publishing those results. But right now, the main thing is tracking the overall strategies as evident on the dashboard as it exists. And then the fourth update is phase 2 of the dashboard. Phase 2 of the dashboard, fourth update here, phase 2 of the dashboard, which will be more of an interactive dashboard that can be used as a tool, both for monitoring and tracking internally and externally, as well as an education and outreach tool. So expected timelines. The CARP update itself, the RFP, we've had a cross-departmental working group, collected feedback, currently synthesizing and finalizing all feedback. So you'll see an RFP solicited within, a couple months or so. This fiscal year, you'll see it solicited, but we plan to award the RFP and the contract itself the following fiscal year, in fiscal year 27. The award will be made in fiscal year 27, as I said, and it could take anywhere from 12, as much as 18 months, realistically. The previous solicitation from the mayor's office came in 2020, and I think they designated about 18 months. So that's in the works to get that updated, get plans updated. The dashboard itself, we're going to be posting updates on a quarterly basis. And again, collecting metrics, that's begun for the sustainability grants. As we hire, a staff member to assist with this, that'll be branching out and going in and collecting more information across different departments, and just making sure it's tracking all public and private progress against measures and impacts related to climate change. Yeah, and then phase two of the dashboard, again, I kind of mentioned it before, but it'll be more of an interactive display. You could use it as a education or outreach tool, and both for tracking progress internally, externally, in a more integrated and comprehensive way than it currently exists right now. Thanks.
Mahalo, Mr. J. All right. Okay, members will take public testimony before I open the floor to questions. And before I open public testimony, I fail to recognize our Deputy Corp Counsel, Adrian Rafe Snyder. Is that correct? Okay, mahalo for being with us today. Okay, testimony on the Climate Action and Resiliency Plan is now open. There's one testifier on the list, Joseph McCorkle.
Hello, Paulo, for taking my testimony here today. I had a question. You had mentioned that the dashboard was going to have quarterly updates, but I thought I had heard earlier that it was going to be monthly updates. Was that quarterly update on the dashboard progress itself and not just updates to the content of the dashboard? Thank you.
Okay, mahalo for your testimony, Mr. McCorkle. And when we get to the Q&A deliberations portion, I'll be happy to answer the question. Next, we have online Kai Nishiki to testify.
Aloha, Chair and committee members. Well, how relevant to have this on your agenda, and thank you for having your little your recess or your break, because we were in the same meeting at the Water and Land as testifying on climate adaptation bills that are going on. So very, very relevant. I really wanted to share. I've been down in North Kihei, our family's businesses right in the impact zone there in North Kihei by the old Suda store. And in that area, there's a very significant issue that needs to be addressed. And it really is about like, how as a community, it would be really nice to look at collectively how we protect our properties and address flooding issues, and specifically is in that area in North Kihei, the shoreline condos have raised their walls on South Kihei Road, put in flood control devices, gates that are like big metal walls. And then, and I'm not sure who put up the railings on the bridge there, but I can show you guys videos of how, we are not looking at the cumulative impacts of how all these condos put up their walls. Somebody, state or county, put these railings on the drainage bridges. And so when the big water comes down the mountain and hits into this small little area right there, and then all those people have the walls and that railing on that bridge, the big water comes down, hits the wall, then bounces back and funnels right into, longtime local businesses. And so like everybody is worrying about themselves. I understand, private property owners are doing that, but like businesses like ours, we don't have the money and ability. And, like all these people, they make the walls and then they get after the fact permits. And so like it's created this huge problem where there isn't a coordinated effort. And so I don't really want to like point fingers or whatever. I just want to share my observations that there needs to be coordinated community efforts on what the impacts are when all these people are all doing these things, and then how it's protecting them perhaps, and all these shoreline vacation rentals, they're getting protected, but how it impacts other people needs to be looked at. And that railing on the bridge, I was down there yesterday and there were county officials looking at it. So I know that there will be discussion about this. In fact, they're probably having a discussion right now at that FEMA meeting at the college with all the officials. But I'm just asking for the county council in all of the discussions about what we're doing about climate action and resiliency, that we really look at this as everybody needs to be at the table in discussing how we address this and what the impacts are. Because I'll show you guys the videos and how it just funnels down because of all of these walls and gates. Thank you.
Mahalo, Ms. Nishiki. Questions for our testifier? Okay, seeing none, I couldn't agree with you more, Ms. Nishiki. Mahalo for your testimony. Okay, let's see if we have anyone else signed up. Okay, I see no one else on the list. So we'll now take our testifier in the chambers.
It's me, J.C. Long. Luna Ho'omolu, Keani Rollins Fernandez. I'm kind of interested, maybe you could share how Molokai is doing. I know they don't have as much asphalt and concrete to wash all the water down, so they might probably be doing better than South Maui. This is one plan that probably won't be put on a shelf because the shelf got washed away, so you're probably carrying the plan with you there in your back pocket. I'm going to go back to a familiar topic of mine, which is the United States administration. They seem to have their head in the sand. And I don't know what's down there underneath the sand, but probably the Israeli administration is also down in there. And I'm pretty sure the counselor from Lahaina is going to bring up the Strait of Hormuz on this one. So thank you for Maui County, Aupuni, for having a plan, a realistic plan, and maybe the rest of the world can learn from the Kingdom of Hawaii to Malama ʻāINA.
Any questions for our testifier? Seeing none.
I forgot to say we have a distinguished guest in the chamber today. Is David Ratz.
Mahalo, Mr. Law. Okay, we'll do a last call for testimony. Anyone wishing to testify, you may unmute yourself at this time. Hearing no one speaking up, we'll close oral testimony and continue to accept written testimony into the record. Members, any objections? Okay, mahalo. And then before I open the floor to questions, I'll thank Mr. McCorkle for that catch. I looked up the code and it indeed says quarterly. So an online dashboard must track the progress of the plan's specific recommendations by December 31st, 2025. The online dashboard must be accessible from the county's website upon approval of the plan and must be updated on a quarterly basis. When I initially drafted that amendment, it was monthly, and then we compromised to quarterly. Okay, so I will put 3 minutes on the clock, and by a show of hands, I'll call on folks when they're ready for questions. Committee Member Batangan, followed by Committee Vice Chair Polton, and then Member Sanensi.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Administration, for being here. I have a question related to work from home. So Section 3-9 of the County Charter is a declaration of policy, and then among other things, lists out policies that the county is to adopt in part for climate change adaptation. Subsection 5 is implementing guidelines to allow county employees to telework and have alternative work schedules. Has the county started implementing this? I don't see it as a strategy under municipal or in transportation and the climate adaptation strategy, the CARP that you mentioned. Is it something we've been working on? Because I know people have been working from home. I just don't know if it's being tracked here. Do we have the data elsewhere? Is it actually part of our strategy for climate change adaptation? Or is it just like something else that the county has been doing because of COVID? Do you have any data or any update on this?
Got it. Do I personally have any data on it right now? No. If you submit that question in writing, I can look into it, research it, and if there is a action item specifically tied to that as it relates to the CARP, I can make sure that's updated. Another good thing about making this dashboard public is that if you notice something where you're saying, hey, you know, I know this might have been done, check with them, send something over to the Department of Environmental Management, and so we can have it updated. That's part of it being public. So if we're not collecting or having accurately displaying the information, we can get that done. But yeah, if you have questions regarding that, just send it through department.
Staff noted your question, Member Batonga.
Okay.
Mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, mahalo. Committee Vice Chair Bolton.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. G. I like the dashboard. Wondering if the sub-action or the actions under the strategy are gonna be color-coded with the status as well. And being that we're a 3-island county, like I know for sure we're working on like evacuation routes and things in West Maui. I'm not sure if it's being done countywide and like that. But I mean, what is top of mind for me right now and may need to be a written question is in designing our infrastructure or anything, in my memory, we allow projects to be built to the 50-year storm, which I think that whole rating system, are we looking at a new method of rating based on like volume or something? Because I don't know how many 100-year storms have happened and I'm not even 50 years old yet. So do you think that's a writing question?
Part of it is an in-writing question. Part of it I can answer now. So the first part related to action items and color coding. It was a discussion that was had related to, you know, just being compliant and getting this online first. And we made the decision not to identify each individual action item in terms of the progress. It looked a little too busy on the current format and the website. It just didn't seem feasible at the time. And so in order to comply and make sure we had an active dashboard, it was just, okay, first things first, let's get this going.
This is a great
and then,
first
you know,
step.
phase 2 coming, and in phase 2, certainly, you know, each individual action item will be reported on, transparent and visible in terms of progress made against it. The question related to evacuation routes, 50-year planning, yeah, that might be one better for in writing to department. And that might not be Department of Environmental Management. It could be another department. Which part of this plan is?
I think the Genesis Protect app is like countywide.
Yeah.
But I know that like specific bottlenecks that had occurred for us in West Maui are in the process of being addressed in that like we're trying to make more through streets and stuff. So I mean, I know Genesis Protect is countywide, but in addressing those potential bottlenecks, but yeah, I guess, I mean, I just can't get past the storm ratings and what we're building towards. And just also, I think on the mitigating impacts from sea level rise or something, the managed retreat one, in Lahaina, we are planning for our infrastructure to be redundant besides under Front Street. I think the other one might be Luakini, so that could be potentially in design in one town. I don't know if that makes the cut or what.
Yeah, I'm familiar with a few managed retreat projects actively going on, which, you know, also it's how do we want to represent our actions? You know, is it strictly just public sector, or is it public and private as well? Is it just public funding? For example, the Nature Conservancy is working on something that could be attributed to managed retreat in Olowalu. And so therefore you could have something and say, okay, this is in progress, not necessarily in design, you know, if no actions have been done, but that's kind of how we're measuring it out, but noted.
Mahalo, Committee Vice Chair Paulton. Member Senensi, followed by Member Sugimura.
Mahalo, Chair. Mahalo, Mr. Chair, for your presentation. Does, I guess, the division under EPNS, do you give out grants?
This is related to EPNS?
Yeah.
Member Senensi, I think we're, I know it says Climate Action Resiliency Plan, but the specific thing we're taking up under this is for the dashboard.
Just for the
And
dashboard?
CART. Yeah, I know EPNS issues grants, but that's not his position.
And this particularly, they don't give out any...
EPNS does,
but not
CART.
Not CART. Okay, thank you. And then I guess for me, you know, I had some questions about some of the efforts at the county level. For example, the Department of Water, their largest cost is their electric bill. I was wondering if you guys kind of tracked if they're moving towards maybe solar to kind of supplement some of their electric bill. And then as far as, well, East Maui, we're trying to look at some alternatives, maybe diversion programs from our waste, our landfills. So is the department also tracking, or I guess maybe looking for investments into landfill diversion programs? Thank you, Chair.
Mr. J.
Good questions. So the part related to Department of Water costs of electric, and if we're transitioning to solar, I'd submit that one in writing to department for clarity on that. With the second question related to waste diversion and capacity of landfills, yes, we are actively working and planning on things in terms of waste diversion. It's also part of the state goals from the climate action pathways to meet certain waste diversion measures. So some of that is in planning.
Yeah, I understand Kauai County, and Oahu, they're running out of some of their landfill space as well. So they're actively looking for alternatives. Well, they don't have they're nearing the capacity of their landfills. Yeah, so thank you for that.
Mahalo, Member Senensi. Okay, Member Sugimura, followed by Member Lee.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And perfect timing to have this update. And I have a question regarding how the energy projects, are you also working closely with or talking to them?
Mr. J.
Is Department of Environmental Management working closely with the energy projects? Is that your question? Yeah.
Right.
I would submit a question in writing so that Director Agawa can respond to that.
Okay, I thought maybe it would tie into your study. We got an email from Darla Palmer, who worked on this. I don't know if she was a consultant, but we just got an email saying, you know, that this will come up. And so what I'm wondering is, are you now continuing discussions with the community and with her and that group that she represented?
Mr. J.
I have not talked to her in months. I met her within the first week that I transitioned into the County of Maui. The Climate Action Resiliency Plan update is not being actively worked on right now. So is she being spoken to about the plans and updates? No, that is going to be for the successful contractor who wins the award to then go out into the community, talk to stakeholders, nonprofits, public and private sector, community members, and that's part of the drafting of the RFP, which is going on right now. As I understand, she was involved in the process for the plan that came out in 2022, and I will leave it at that.
Okay, thank you.
Mahalo, Member Sugimura. And then Member Lee had all her questions. She had many questions. They were all answered. Mahalo for that. So for my turn, Okay, let's see. When do you folks plan to have phase 2 complete?
Phase 2 of the dashboard, right? The plan is to contract it out in fiscal year 27. So we've identified a few vendors to solicit quotes to, but that is a fiscal year 27 project. It's also going to be important to onboard a new hire for the CARP role to assist in that, collecting data information, not just from our own work, but across the county and in the community. But I can't give you a specific date, but I can tell you that it is a priority for fiscal year 27. You know, I can't put a date on it, but it is going to fiscal year 27. Yeah.
Okay, mahalo. But the dashboard will continue to be updated quarterly?
Quarterly, correct, yes.
Okay. Okay, and then you mentioned to members of Kimura about the RFP. Do you have an approximate timeline for that? What quarter are we out?
We hope that you can see it publicly and that it's solicited, you know, before June 30th. A few things need to be finalized before that's ready. But the plan is to award that, that contract in fiscal year 27 as well. However it works, so.
Okay, good. You answered the question that I was going to follow up with, which was how would you pay for that? Because that's the end of the fiscal year. So that'll come under FY27.
Yep.
Okay, great. For phase 2, you said that of the dashboard, that that will be a priority of FY27, but are you in the process of, is the department in the process of drafting an RFP the way it'll have one for the community outreach?
Is it in the process of drafting an RFP for?
The phase 2 of the dashboard.
Have not drafted the RFP for that yet, one RFP at a time. So getting the update ready for the overall plan first, but yeah.
Okay, mahalo, Mr. J. Okay, members, any round 2 questions? Okay, seeing none. Well, thank you so much, Mr. J, for all your work on getting that dashboard live. And we look forward to the progress. Any closing remarks?
Thank you all.
Mahalo. Okay, members, if there are no objections, we'll defer this item, Climate Action and Resiliency Plan, and we'll thank Mr. J and release him back into the wild. Any objections? Mahalo, members. Okay. And then we will invite Director Rotz to join us on the floor for our next item. Our third and last item is Maui County's transition to a bilingual government. When preparing to post my agenda for today's meeting, there was a new format I was asked to use, which separated the English and the Olelo Hawaii versions of the agenda instead of having them combined the way that we had been doing for the past year plus. And we also discussed this in committee, I believe last January, with Department of OEV Resources when we were talking about the formatting of the agenda. And at that time in committee, I didn't hear any feedback that was not supportive of the direction that we were heading. I was told that the new format was intended to keep all agendas consistent and professional looking. Mahalo OCS for always making us look good. I understand that there may be committee chairs who would prefer not to have the Olelo Hawaii version of the agenda. I placed this last item on the agenda so that we can discuss our efforts in transitioning to a bilingual government as required in Charter Section 13-17 and Ordinance 5758, especially regarding the Olelo Hawaii agendas. And I'm glad that we have Deputy Corp Counsel Rafe Snyder with us as well, so that if we have any legal questions, we have both our director and deputy court counsel. So in County Code Chapter 2.02, Bilingual Government, 2.02.10 010 official writings. This chapter is intended to implement Charter Section 13-17, which provides that the county must operate as a bilingual government and to promote the use of Olelo Hawaii. Charter Section 13-17 also provides that official writings of the county must be prepared and made available in both official state languages, English and Olelo Hawaii, as determined by ordinance. Section 2.02.020, public meeting agendas. All official public meeting agendas required under Part 1, Chapter 92, Hawaii Revised Statutes must be published in English and Olelo Hawaii. And this ordinance took effect on September 1st, 2025. In the charter, Section 13-17, bilingual government, the county shall operate as a bilingual government and shall implement opportunities to promote inclusion of the Hawaiian language. Official writings of the county shall be prepared and made available in both official state languages, English and Hawaiian, as determined by ordinance. The county shall provide appropriate oral language services to any resident who orally communicates with its officers or employees in the Hawaiian language, and that was amended in 2024. So those are my opening remarks for this 7B item, and I will open public testimony before I open the floor for questions from the committee members. Okay. I have, listed, okay, names aren't on the list yet. Okay, but I see hands raised by 3 individuals, and I believe it was Ka'alafe Kamara, followed by Kavaipuna Kalipi. Aloha.
Hi. Aloha ene. E lele o ka aha o ke kalana o Maui, o Waui hono o Ka'alafe Kamara, he kupa o Moloka Inui a Hina. Aloha, my name is Ka'alafe Kamara, and I stand before you today as a Native Hawaiian, an educator, administrator, and a proud member of a community deeply rooted in this ʻāINA. I am here to reiterate that we continue to support Maui County's transition to a bilingual government. The state of Hawaii has already established through law and practice that Olelo Hawaii is an official language of the state. Alongside this, there is a clear commitment to ensuring that Hawaiian language immersion education is available to any family who chooses it for their child. As the principal of Kualapu'u Public Charter School, a bilingual school on Molokai that offers educational pathways through English medium education and Hawaiian language medium education, we are but one of at least 15 schools across Maui County, including Maui, Molokai, and Lanai, that offer bilingual education to the next generation of keiki, reflecting a growing movement of families choosing to raise their children in the language of this land. As these students progress through our schools, they are becoming fully bilingual, capable, confident, and grounded in both Ike Hawaii and global knowledge. Research consistently shows that students who are fluent in multiple languages demonstrate stronger cognitive flexibility, improved problem-solving skills, and higher academic achievement. Bilingual learners are often better prepared to adapt, think critically, and succeed in diverse professional fields. Those youth become our leaders, those elected to government positions like yours, who in turn play a big role in societal decisions that shape our lives. We are raising a generation of bilingual, capable, and industrious youth. The question before us is, will our government grow alongside them? If our county truly serves its people, then it must reflect its people. Our families are choosing immersion education. Our children are speaking Olelo Hawaii and English fluently. Our educators are dedicating their lives to revitalizing this language. Therefore, it is both appropriate and necessary that our county government conducts its business both in official languages of the state. A bilingual government is not symbolic. It is a commitment to equity, access, and cultural alignment with the very constituents you represent. This is about more than policy. It is about normalization. It is about ensuring that Olelo Hawaii is not confined to the classroom or cultural spaces, but that it lives in our institutions, our systems, and our daily interactions. Just 40 years ago, our kupuna fought to revitalize the Hawaiian language in schools across Hawaii. Their dream was to create a future where our youth, grounded in their identity as proud people of Hawaii, could grow up to be successful, industrious individuals who understand their kuleana, their responsibility to this land and its people. We now see third-generation Hawaiian language speakers that have been educated in our bilingual schools, who are now doctors, marine biologists, architects, educators, and administrators, fully bilingual and fully capable. We want to ensure that they are fully supported by the systems that serve them. Wahia kamo'i kauikeoli, as declared by Kamehameha III, he aupuni palapala ko'u. Mine is a nation of educated people. Today, that vision lives on through our commitment to education, language, and the advancement of our communities. Let us honor that vision by ensuring that Olelo Hawaii is not only preserved as a heritage language, but recognized and supported as a living, breathing language spoken by the residents, families, and children of Maui Nui and Hawaii. I leave you with this thought. As residents and natives alike of Hawaii, of Maui, of Molokai, who will preserve, uplift, and live the language of Hawaii? If not me as a mother, as an educator, he kupa o ʻāINA, then who? If not you as our elected officials, then who? It will not be the legislatures of the United States, or the businessmen of China, or the lawmakers of Portugal, Japan, England. So if not you, then who? Mahalo for your time and your commitment to the people of Maui County. Aloha.
Mahalo no ko leo I kia kakahiaka, Ms. Kamara. Members, any questions for our testifier? Seeing none, mahalo. We'll call on our next testifier, Kawaipuna Kalipi, followed by Manuai Peters.
Aloha e ka luna ho'o malua mena la'ala o ka aha kuka kalana. Mahalo no ka ho'ohui ana o kako o puna o ka waipuna kalipi ko uinoa a ke ho'ike mana o nei au maluna o ke KAA e kahi e lima. He mea nui ka olelo Hawaii no ka mea oia ke kumu e ola ai ko kako mo olelo ko kako ike a me ko kako kilina i ke ia ʻāINA. A ole ia he olelo wale no, a ka he apana no ia o ko kako o ano Hawaii. He mea nui ka olelo ma ka papahana no ka mea he palapala kuhelu ia no ke aupuni. A he ho'ai luna ia o ka ho'oko ana o ke kalana o I kona kule ana malalo o ka palapala ho'okumu e lido I aupuni olelo e lua. A ole e kahi. He mea nui ke ia manawa a no ka hanauna e hiki mai ana. Pono ka kako po e opia I ike he wahi kupono ko ka olelo Hawaii ma loko o ke aupuni. No laila, ke noi aku nei au I ia oko e kupa'a I ke kana wai me ka palapala ho'okumu o ke kalana a mai ho'i hope me ma ke ia hana. Aloha Chair and members of the Council, my name is Kawaipuna Kalipi and I'm testifying on behalf of the Maui County's transition to a bilingual government. I first want to say thank you for having this conversation with us and reaffirming our collective commitment to make Olelo Hawaii a bilingual language in Hawaii and especially in Maui County. Olelo Hawaii is important because it's how our history, our knowledge, our values, and our relationship to this place continues to live. It's not just a language, it's a part of who we are as Hawaii. That's why it matters that Olelo Hawaii remains in the agenda. The agenda is an official government document. And when Olelo Hawaii is included, it shows that Maui County is honoring its responsibility to be a bilingual government. A bilingual government. Removing it would be a step backward and another act of pushing our language aside. This matters now, and it matters for the next generation. Our young people, as Ka'ala said, need to see that Olelo Hawaii belongs everywhere, including in government. They need to see that our language is not something to hide, but something to uphold with dignity. Thank you, Councilmember Kiani, for doing just as much. As public trust in government continues to erode at the federal level, I'm proud proud to live in Maui County, where I can trust my local government. Especially now, we need you to continue setting a good example by following the laws that you set and the charters that you set, no matter how inconvenient this may seem. The charter is clear and the will of the people is clear. Please do not move us backwards. Please continue to uplift and promote Olelo Hawaii as part of Maui County's responsibility as a bilingual government. Mahalo nui.
Mahalo, Ms. Kalipi. Members, any questions for our testifier? Seeing none, mahalo nui no koleo I kakahiaka. Our next testifier is Manuwai Peters, followed by Maile Naehu.
Mahalo nui, Chair. Aloha nui kako wau no o Manuwai Peters. My name is Manuwai. I am also a lifelong educator, and I support the last two testifiers and what they've been sharing. I am a resident of Kalamaʻula, Molokai, and I am registered to vote in the County of Maui. I support this measure to transition our county government into a bilingual government for those reasons shared earlier. And in historical context, it was, we had government before in the kingdom time, and through policy and through government action, this language was further eroded in government practice and therefore in business as well. So even today, 40 years after the Hawaiian Language Immersion Program was started in 1987, well, next year makes the 40th anniversary, our communities are growing stronger and stronger with Olelo Hawaii, but it's still relegated to learning in classrooms and the school settings. So this measure is really critical that it shows value for Olelo Hawaii in government. This leads to employment of these graduates from our schools, rightful employment because they are citizens, they're taxpayers. They need employment to exercise their use of Olelo Hawaii, particularly with the Trump administration and the downgrading and degrading of indigenous funding, language programs. We are getting hit really hard from the federal government with funding for our education. This is impacting many people in this room. And so the County of Maui has a really important role to play in supporting local action on the ground. This is not really a very big lift for the county. I think that it is an inconvenience for some. And even for me, I will admit that when I have to read the minutes and notes in Hawaiian, I have to read slowly. I have to look really deeply at the Olelo Hawaii to really comprehend it. But I'm so stoked and happy that I can do that because it's been provided in Olelo Hawaii. So do know that your choices here are important, that it is appreciated, and that we look to Maui County on this beacon of light on the hill, because if we look around the state of Hawaii, other county governments, they're not doing this. And so we really give props to Maui County for taking that step to really validate where we're coming from, as not just as indigenous people, but as a political class. The state of Hawaii has an actual trust obligation to the political class of these people, these inhabitants who have been here since the kingdom times, right? So I'm just so excited and hopeful that the county will continue this good work to really lift up Olelo Hawaii, because like Keani was saying, we have generations coming behind us, and this is very important for cultural preservation as well. With that in mind, mahalo for letting me testify today.
Mahalo, Mr. Peters. Members, any questions? Seeing none, mahalo no ko leo. Nice to see you. Aloha. Our next testifier is Maile Naehu.
Melina Mai,
Melina.
the Chair and Honorable Council Members, Ame Aloha e ko Molokai. O wau o Maile Naehu. I'm a Borinkwa Kanaka Maoli educator, cultural arts consultant, and community organizer from Molokai. I'm the co-founder of Kahale Hoaka School of Hawaiian Knowledge and director of the Molokai Nui ʻAINA project, and project director for Huio Kopa, where we restore local fish ponds. For the past 26 years, I have dedicated my life to serving Maui and Molokai communities, traveling throughout Hawaii and beyond to educate, advocate, and perpetuate Olelo and Ike Hawaii, while raising my 3 beautiful bilingual keiki. Through Kahale Hoaka, our programs including Olelo Hawaii education, cultural arts, and ʻāINA-based learning has served nearly 16,000 students and community members. Olelo Hawaii is not irrelevant. It is essential to a bilingual county government, and it strengthens identity, provides knowledge that English alone cannot, and equips youth and residents to make pono, thoughtful decisions for the communities and environment. I strongly support the transition of the County of Maui into a bilingual county government where hearings, communications, and official materials are accessible in both English and Olelo Hawaii. Olelo carries knowledge that informs stewardship, guides leadership, and reflects the unique connection Hawaiians have with our ʻāINA and kai. Centering Olelo in governance restores indigenous perspectives and decision-making and sets a model for other counties to follow. As a kumu and project director for Huiokopa, I often translate English concepts into Olelo Hawaii for students. And when expressed in Olelo, understanding deepens immediately. Language conveys a vivid, place-based perspective of the world we inhabit in Hawaii, connecting learners to land, ocean, and culture while fostering responsibility, clarity, and insight. In my ohana, raising children bilingual in Olelo Hawaii has been transformative. 2 were valedictorians. 1 graduated from Pomona College and is now a film and music producer. Another became the first Molokai graduate accepted to Princeton University. Later graduated and is now preparing to complete her master's degree at NYU, hoping to return as an immersion teacher. My youngest is a sophomore, class president, and academically ranked #1. These achievements are strengthened and not hindered by Olelo Hawaii. Community programs, professional developments, and youth programs like Kia'i Coalition Camp that we host and our local iʻai initiatives at Ohalahala Fish Pond in Mana'e, Molokai show similar results. Youth engage in stewardship, leadership, and creative expression through art, storytelling, and cultural practices. They emerge confident, grounded, and capable of making real-world decisions informed by cultural identity and connection to place. I personally invite each council member who desires to begin their Olelo Hawaii journey to join my Papakahua, a free class that I will teach you for 3 hours, and you will see how the language brings clarity, insight, and understanding to perspective and decision-making. Supporting a bilingual county government is not only about language, it is about equity, identity, and responsible leadership. Mahalo nui ia'o ko pakiapau for your consideration. Mahalo.
Mahalo for your testimony and for that invitation, Ms. Nehu. Members, any questions? More information on that invitation? Mahalo no ko leo i ke kakahiaka, Ms. Nehu. Aloha. Okay. Our next testifier looks like is Mr. Law.
Oval J.C. Law. Half a day, everybody. I'll try to make it quick, but this is going to be a little bit longer. I might use my 3 minutes. I compare it to like being in the desert and looking for water, and I found just a little drip of water in the rocks. And that's what I compare this Olelo Hawaiian to, because I'm out there trying to learn it as much as I can. That was one of my plans. My top 10 is actually #1 on my top 10 list when I came to Hawaii. So it's one thing to speak it, and then it's another thing to read it. So it's kind of hard to do both. Thank you thank you Maui County. And Mr. Rotz, one of the first times I met Mr. Rotz was when I was having trouble with the library, and I wanted to write a letter in Olelo Hawaiian to the librarian so that she would have to learn it to understand what I was writing about. But Mr. Rotz told me that we didn't have the capability for that yet, so I'm glad that this is happening. I was speaking yesterday at the DRIP meeting about the general plan and implementation. I was trying to explain my situation, how I'm having pilikia with the state tax office. And I guess everybody's heard about how certain members of the United States military are told that they can refuse orders if they're illegal. Well, I think it's illegal for the state to make me pay taxes if they claim to be a branch of the U.S. government corporation. That should be voluntary. I know realistically that the state is only a government recognized by the U.S. Treasury and the IRS, so I'm willing to compromise if the state does too. I have here a State of Hawaii basic business application. It's in English, and I've asked several times for an Olelo Hawaiian version, and they said they don't have it. And then when I went back again and again, they threatened to call the sheriff on me and have it removed from the office. I'll pay the fee in U.S. dollars if someone will help me with an Olelo Hawaiian translation. And there's a whole lot more on here that it might take a while, but I'm going to try. And there's another state form here for a different service over there at the state building. It says, do you need help? I heard the bell. It says, do you need help in another language? And I'm going to tell them yes. It says, we will get you a free interpreter. So the interpreter is kind of going to get thrown for a loop when I tell them, I understand what the application says, but I want them to help me translate it into Olelo Hawaiian. And I'll tell you all how that turns out. And the reason I'm doing all this stuff is making it harder for my life to make a living in Hawaii, but I have an obligation to Queen Liliuokalani.
Okay, members, any questions for our testifier? Seeing none, well, thank you for your testimony. And I see another individual wishing to testify, Aulani Herod Perkins.
Aloha mai, Chair and Council members, ovo no Aulani Herod Perkins, no ho voi komilalo molokai. Kako ovo ina mana o iha pai mua ia, no u. This isn't just about policy, it's about koleana. In 2022, the Ho'ea Molokai, Kalamai, Maui County made it clear that we are a bilingual government, and that commitment should be reflected in how this council operates and not treated as just something that is optional or convenient. Molokai, Olelo Hawaii isn't just something that we separate from our daily lives. It's how we connect to ʻāINA, to our kaiulu, and to one another. O ka'olelo ke ka'a kamoli. Language is the fiber that binds us to our cultural identity. And when treated as optional, it does have a real impact on how our language is valued and carried forward. And we should be moving forward, strengthening and normalizing Olelo Hawaii in our systems and not stepping back. No laila, I ask the council to honor that commitment and kāko'o, continue to support Olelo Hawaii in all proceedings. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Ms. Herod Perkins. Any questions for our testifier? Okay, seeing none. Mahalo no ko leo. Our next testifier is Lealoha Kialaiki.
Belina mai me ke aloha o wauno o Lealoha Kialaiki. Nā wein lawa o kama, he kumu wau ma kamukapuni o Molokai. Aloha, my name is Lealoha Kialaiki. As an educator, I see every day how important language is. Language is not just words on a page. It carries identity, it carries ike, history, and the way that our students understand who they are and where they come from. When our county government makes space for Olelo Hawaii, it sends a powerful message to our keiki and our communities that this language matters, that it belongs here, and that it has a living place in public life. For many of us in education, we work hard to uplift Olelo Hawaii in our classrooms so that our students can see it, they can hear it, and they know that it is worthy of being spoken and honored. If our government starts treating Olelo Hawaii as optional, that sends the opposite message. It tells our children that their language and culture can be pushed aside when it becomes inconvenient. That is not the lesson we should be teaching. The people of Maui already voted for the county to operate as a bilingual government. That choice should be respected. Supporting Olelo Hawaii and council agendas is not about doing something extra. It is about honoring the will of the people, honoring the place, and honoring the language of Hawaii. As a teacher, I know that what is modeled by leadership matters. And so when students see Olelo Hawaii reflected in government, they learn that their language is not limited to the classroom or just to ceremony. They learn that it belongs in leadership, decision-making, and the everyday work of serving our communities. I ask that the council continue to uphold its responsibility to support and normalize Olelo Hawaii, not reduce it. Our language should never be treated as optional in our own home. Mahalo for your time.
Mahalo, Mr. Kialiki. Seeing no questions, mahalo no koleo. Our next testifier is Joshua Gante.
Aloha ko.
Aloha.
My name is Joshua Gante, Ikaika Gante. I am a kumu at Ohine Kamalama 7 to 12 Hawaiian Immersion Program here in Molokai. And I also teach social studies. So one of my social studies classes is participation in a democracy. And what really got my kids accustomed to reading bills, looking at certain candidates and the bills that they support and whatnot, and also testifying, is also the ability to grow into that stage where they're able to be a council member like yourselves. And hearing the ability to also do it in Olelo Hawaii actually created a big pool towards their interest in office, in running for public change. And it's just amazing that just because Olelo Hawaii is offered on the table to be run as the language for the government, created a lot of interest for a lot of my students. And I want that interest to continue. And I want them to continue to be able to aspire to be not only law or legal or attorney representatives, but also representatives for the community in the Olelo that they learned in, the medium. If you guys are not familiar, but the immersion program teaches all standards that the English side has to abide by, but in the medium of Hawaiian. So U.S. history, world history, Pacific Island studies, you name it. Also in also PID as well. And so I'm constantly translating because we don't have curriculum to teach our students, but I'm trying to translate as much as possible. But just having Olelo as a conduit for them to aspire to really increases their interests, especially for our Haumana here in Molokai, and their background to be greater than they currently are now. But mahalo, thank you very much. Ahuiho.
Ahuiho, mahalo, Mr. Gante. No questions for you. So mahalo no koleo. Our next testifier is Melia Kalave.
Aloha nui kakou. My name is Melia Kalave. I come from the island of Molokai, and I fully support the previous testifiers and support the transition of Olelo Hawaii as a bilingual language. I believe that it should not be an option. And speaking from a personal experience as a former student of Kulakaiapuni or the Hawaiian language immersion programs, Olelo Hawaii has allowed me to build pilina, relationships with Mo'olelo, with ʻāINA, with histories and stories, especially places like Molokai. It has elevated my experiences and skills professionally and inspired me to become an archivist for the island of Molokai and work with the community in building the first island-wide digital repository. I believe that you cannot separate language from culture and from government. We are in Hawaii and we must acknowledge and support utilizing Olelo Hawaii by all means. Language is a part of our identity as Kanaka, and I believe that the use of our language supports more Kanaka to become leaders and stewards of our government, our counties, and our communities, bringing us closer together. So with that being said, please consider to support Olelo Hawaii and uplift Olelo Hawaii within your folks' work. Mahalo nui.
Mahalo nui, Ms. Kalave. Okay, I'm going to do a last call for testifiers because it looks like she may be the last one. We'll do a last call for oral testimony. And we'll continue to accept written testimony into the record. Seeing no one raising their hand or unmuting themselves, we'll close oral testimony. Any objections? No objection. And we'll continue to accept written testimony into the record. Okay, so I see that Chair Lee has to leave. Before you go, Chair, the question and the purpose for this meeting is to provide OCS the necessary and clear instruction on what our agendas should be. OCS is doing their best to keep our agendas consistent, and the format that was chosen was a compromise, as I understand it. I wanted to call on Director Rotz and yourself to answer that question on what is it you need from the council members for OCS to achieve that consistency with the agendas, but to continue the agendas combined and not for Olelo Hawaii to be cast to the side.
Can I go? Okay, sorry, I thought your meeting was going to be ending sooner. I have an 11:30, but I probably could switch it, detain it until maybe 11:45. Okay, but I'm not sure how this got on your agenda, but I did ask David maybe a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that I was getting complaints about our agendas. And it's not to delete the Hawaiian language. That was never in our discussion. It was to put it on a different page. That was, you know, is it possible to make it so that you don't have to keep going through the agenda to find what you're looking for? Just put all the Hawaiian in one section and all the English in one section. That was the question. So I'm surprised at the tone of the testimony, because unless somebody else brought this subject up, I was getting complaints because people were taking much longer than needed to go through the agendas to find what they needed in English. So that was something I brought up to him. But I don't know if that was the reason for him, for this being on the agenda today.
I can answer that question.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That is the reason. I understand folks who don't olelo Hawaii and have no desire to that live here and look at our agendas. I understand the complaints, but when I weigh the impact of a little more time that would take for someone to review our agendas versus the continued erasure of our language and culture, that's the easy one for me. Also, by law, we're required to do this. We're required to keep it combined because it says we shall implement opportunities to promote inclusion. And by putting it on a separate page, that's a violation of our charter, in my opinion. But we can ask Corp Counsel or our attorney, Director Rotz, if you like. Mr. Deputy Corp Counsel Rafe Snyder?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have an official determination on that yet. Oh, is it on?
Just, yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Into the mic and keep speaking into the mic.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know if we have an official determination on whether separating it or keeping it together, which one is the most lawful way. You know.
That promoting inclusion.
I have my personal thoughts on it, but I don't
because it was combined before and now it's separated onto its own page. Is that promoting inclusion?
I have my personal opinions on it, but I don't know if we have a departmental determination quite yet, so I wouldn't want to speak on behalf of the entire department. But we can absolutely have those conversations offline, yeah.
Okay, mahalo for that opinion. Committee Vice Chair Paulton.
Oh, thank you. I did receive a email from Mr. Mayor And his suggestion wasn't to separate it. Sorry I didn't bring it up sooner because there was a lot going on, but it was to color code it. Like, I feel like with them right next to each other, it promotes learning because, you know, if you see the Olelo Hawaii next to the English, then you can kind of learn the English Olelo for Olelo Hawaii and the Olelo Hawaii for English. But I did think it was kind of weird because we had initially been asked our preference on how we wanted it to appear, and then it just changed. But I didn't have time because there's a lot of things going on. But I would be supportive of the color coding. Like maybe we could try that.
Director Ratz.
Thank you, Chair. I welcome the opportunity to be here today and have this discussion, and thank you for that comprehensive context you provided in your opening remarks. I'll provide just a little bit additional background, if I may, please. So we in the Office of Council Services are central staff for all of the council members, and one of our primary tasks is to staff all the council committees. And that includes, of course, producing the meeting agendas. And as you mentioned, we try to be consistent in our formatting to ensure that all committee chairs have the same access to our services, and to ensure that council members and members of the public, others who deal with meeting agendas, see a consistent format, and it improves their understanding, their comprehension of what's being presented. So we actually had an agenda format that didn't change for about 30 years. It seemed to be working well, where we have a topical heading in all caps, the item heading, followed by narratives, a description of the item and status of the item. And with the ordinance that was referenced in Chapter 2.02 of the County Code to implement the Charter Amendment, we welcome the change to produce bilingual meeting agendas. As I've mentioned before, Hawaiian is an official language of the state of Hawaii, and it seems appropriate to us to execute this effort to produce bilingual meeting agendas. So our original format to comply with the ordinance last year was to alternate the language for each section. So back and forth between each language. And as Chair Lee mentioned, we did receive constructive feedback that the back and forth was kind of jarring to some readers. That in the feedback and from some complaints were so persistent over time that we made the decision earlier this year to produce a different format, which is we've seen recently, where we still produce one document that's the agenda for each committee meeting. And we agree with you, Chair, that an agenda is a singular unified document, but instead of having the alternating language as we go through each section, we now publish Hawaiian first and then English. And for the inclusion piece that you mentioned, we felt if we're going to do it that way, where we're not alternating, it would be important for Hawaiian to become first. Otherwise, because we know most of the population are not Olelo Hawaii readers, if we did English first, we wouldn't be promoting inclusion and familiarity with and acceptance of Hawaiian language for a lot of readers. They would just stop at the English version. So there's sort of an intentional inconvenience, if you will, where to get to the English version, you have to go through the Hawaiian version first. So we are operating under our interpretation of the ordinance and the charter amendment and what's required. So again, we appreciate this discussion because we can't consult with the council members jointly on their preferences in a different venue. The ordinance could be changed to provide different direction if that's the will of the body. We will take comments from today's meeting and consider further changes as warranted. We do hope to, at some point soon, really get to consistency that, again, the readers of the agendas can be comfortable with. Our staff has researched, and I'll just close with this, Chair. Thanks for, again, this opportunity. Practices in other jurisdictions. A few municipalities on the continent provide bilingual meeting agendas in English and Spanish, and some in Canada produce agendas in both English and French. And those other jurisdictions seem to do it in different ways. The two main ways that we've tried so far are not uncommon. The alternating between each section, back and forth between the two languages, or producing the whole content in different, in each language. We did notice there's a third possible option that some of our staff at first glance thought might be appealing. Producing the content side by side. So you have two columns, English and Spanish, English and French, or in our case, English and Hawaiian. So if you're interested in looking at that, Chair, in our limited time today, we do have an example we could show. We're certainly welcome to other ideas. But in response to your question, finally, I do think what we're producing today does comply with the ordinance and the charter, but we welcome other viewpoints. Thank you.
Mahalo, Director Rutz. I saw indications that members would like to see that example if it can be screen shared. And then while that's happening, I will go to Member Senensi for a question. Member Batangan, I guess, has to also leave. So if you both leave, I will not have quorum.
I have until noon.
Okay, thank you for making that accommodation. Yeah. Okay. So we have on the screen the example. What I was hoping to achieve for OCS today was the ability for OCS to provide consistent agendas. And I appreciate Director Rott's research in finding an alternative to satisfying the concern.
I like that one. Only because you can...
Please speak into the mic, Member Senensi.
Thank you, Chair. I like this one is because you can, I mean, before you had to kind of go up, toggle up and down to see, to compare the Olelo Hawaii and the English. This one you can just kind of, you know, toggle or don't even have to just back and forth. But I agree with you, Chair. With this latest one, I mean, we're wasting so much paper. I mean, it looks like yours is more inclusive and it's only a couple pages, but well, I think when we were doing the entire in Olelo Hawaii and the entire one in, it took like 3 times the amount of paper for us to print out. So, and then my question was, well, how many complaints?
Chair Lee?
Plenty.
I've had it at least 5 from people you know, and it's local people, you know. And then our offices had other complaints.
About just the timing of translating?
Not having the language there. Nobody complained about that. It's the format. It's the format.
Into the mic. Into the mic, Member Bolden.
I just was asking her if it's people only Shane knows, or is it like
It's
to
all of us.
clarify the way she used you?
It's all of your friends too.
Okay, so we have this alternative as we try to. No one said transitioning to a bilingual government was going to be easy. It's a work in progress, and I'm going to fight this fight every time to not let our language and culture be erased because it inconveniences people, and that's super offensive. I also want to honor all of our kumu educators that are putting in the work to ensure the survival of Olelo Hawaii, because how sad would it be if 50 years from now we reminisce about, oh, remember when there was that language? Like, I don't even want us to get to that point. Our language should not just be for ceremony, and it shouldn't be for decoration. It's insulting, and it's not what our law says. So we have this alternative. Director Rotz, I can do an informal poll of those that are here. I did also receive a text message from Member Sugimura saying that she's supportive of making Olelo Hawaii inclusive. Member Batangan?
I'm supportive as well.
Of which version?
I like the side by side. I guess if you're asking my thoughts in general, it's that I am not fluent in Olelo Hawaii, but I'm trying to learn. You know, I've helped found the Papalelo Hawaii at my college and have been trying to take it up since. I would really like for my kids to be able to learn from me. I didn't have that opportunity. My grandfather, who was Hawaiian, passed away when he was young. He didn't get to teach my mom. It wasn't as available when she was growing up, and it was just starting when we were in school. So I'm making an effort now and would like to learn. I guess that's a way of me saying that if it was only in Olelo Hawaii, I wouldn't be able to figure it out. I do appreciate having the English there as well, and have used these agendas as an opportunity to practice. Sometimes it is more time consuming. I will say I was not the person complaining to chair. And my thought when I first heard this discussion was maybe instead of doing it page by page, it'd be section by section. You know, it's close enough where you can still reference back and forth and using it as an opportunity to learn. And it's not easily discarded. Apparently in all of the research that OCS did, nobody else in the world thought this was a great solution. And the side-by-side does seem to work for me. You know, it's still an opportunity for the languages to be on equal footing, not easily discarded. It's an opportunity for me to be able to reference and learn. And, you know, it keeps all of the Olelo Hawaii and all of the English together in sections so that it's not so broken up and you can get the information that you need all in one place.
Mahalo, Member Batangan. Before I go to Member Committee Vice Chair Bolton, or maybe Member Lee, since she has to leave for her meeting, I just wanted to fact check what you said real quick with Director Rotz. So in your research, Director Rotz, did you find no other agenda that had formatted it the way that we had originally formatted it with?
Sorry, was it originally done section by section? No.
If by section,
I meant like agenda item by agenda item.
It was like several lines, like so the categories, like the description of the item, and then like the status, and then like the action.
Sure. I mean, it's not super important to me whether or not anybody else in the world adopted this idea. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. I actually would prefer utilizing a template from somewhere else that has been proven to be successful. So whether or not you found something that matched what I had envisioned when I was thinking about how to approach this from scratch is not all that important to me.
Okay, so you like the side-by-side?
Yeah.
Okay. Mahalo, and mahalo for sharing the painful past that we all have in common with the erasure of our language. Committee Member Lee?
I'd be happy to support anything that works for everybody.
Okay, we don't have everyone here, all council members here, but if you're okay with everyone who is here now making that decision, that's great.
We do have a quorum of the full council, so if everybody here supports it, we could vote for it.
Okay.
Chair, are we able to vote? It's a 7B.
We're not voting. But we're taking
mean
an
right
informal
now?
poll
Yeah.
so that we can give OCS clear direction. Member Bolton?
I'm supportive of the side-by-side, and as one of the testifiers mentioned that they oftentimes have to spend extra time to translate their curriculum, I would support more of our government business than just the agenda in Olelo Hawaii because, you know, in our entire society, it feels like people don't understand, even though it's in English, how we operate and what we do. And if there's a chance of better understanding in the language of this place, then I'm all for it. And perhaps it supplements the curriculum that is in existence because, you know, who else to me do we want as our future leaders than the ʻāINA of this place? Because, like, you figure some kid in 5th grade right now saw the fires in Lahaina, saw the record-breaking floods in Kihei, and they'll live with that forever, and it'll shape probably their policy decisions. And who better than our Kikiokaina to be our future leaders? And it's also sad that all the information that we put out in English isn't well understood either. So I don't think that understanding should stop us because so much English is not understood as well, it seems.
Mahalo, Committee Vice Chair Bolton. And it was super encouraging and inspiring to hear one of our kumu share that his haumana, his students, became more interested in learning civics because we were conversing or at least had our documents in Olelo Hawaii, which made it more accessible to the next generation of kupaʻāina of this place. So which version?
Side by side is
we can try that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Committee Member Sanensi.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate the side-by-side, but also, Chair, wanted to mahalo you and mahalo to all the kumu that came up and speak. That was very inspirational. Especially Ms. Naehu, as a kumu myself, of 20 years, we've seen the change in the students. For students that are of Hawaiian ancestry, it's tough. It's still tough to learn a Western way of education, and so, you know, we saw increased behaviors, a spike in behaviors, a spike in, you know, not wanting to participate, no interest. So as Hawaiian kumu, now we're seeing inside the curriculum, there's also Hawaiian values, there's also pono behavior. So you can eventually reach the keiki and teach them. Because we've seen in a Western society that we cannot teach them without the participation first. So I think what you saw today was, and as Ms. Miley had said, you really see the advancement of the keiki. So mahalo for their testimony, Chair.
Mahalo for that wisdom to our resident Kumu. Appreciate that, Member Senensi. And mahalo to all of our testifiers. Testimony was very powerful, and there were more than 5 testifiers. The last thing I wanted to state for the record again is that Olelo Hawaii is not just a language. It's, in it is Ike Hawaii, Ike Kupuna coded so that we remember the areas that get flooded, that have fire, that have certain things, so that we don't build in certain areas, that we don't build in the wetlands, that we remember that Wailuku means, I'm going to slaughter that, but treacherous water? Yeah. Anyway, destructive water. Yeah, I think so. That's, and to remember that all the areas that have vai in it is Ike Kupuna, to let us know that that is what that area is known for. So I would be supportive to try the side-by-side if OCS is open and willing to go through the growing pains with us.
Thank you so much, Chair and council members. Appreciate this guidance, and I do appreciate your recognition of the possible growing pains. We'll have to work with our contractor, Granicus, to see what we can do, but I am acknowledging the consensus viewpoint that we like the side-by-side format. In one way, it's convenient. Standing committees are going to go on hiatus for a while, so we have some time to work on it, but of course, BFED is going to be starting budget session within a few days. I can't promise what we're going to be able to do for budget session necessarily, but really appreciate this guidance, and thanks for your insight.
Mahalo, Director Ratz. Okay, any other comments? I know Member Lee needs to leave, Member Batangan. And if you have to go, Chair, I think we have quorum.
Okay. It doesn't sound like we're going in this direction, but I just wanted on the record that I would be against going with color. I think it would just make it a lot busier and a lot more expensive for us to produce our agendas. Just wanted it stated. Thank you, Chair.
Mahalo for that feedback, Member Batangan. I'm sure OCS appreciates that feedback as well. But I do appreciate the idea and creativity because it is a kako effort. And, as you try to figure this out as basically the tip of the spear, right? None of the other counties are really doing this. So, Member Bolton.
How do you feel about bold and not bold? Or underline, italics? Just
we did
going
do
through
that.
all the options, just seeing there's many.
We did do the different font styles, italics, bold, indentations, so we've mahalo to OCS for trying all the different things to try to to try to make the review of our agendas, as easy as possible for those that do not olelo Hawaii. Member Bolton?
Was that a private showing or did I miss it?
No, that was how the combined agendas were, with the italics and bold and larger fonts and smaller fonts.
For the olelo Hawaii and the English?
When it was combined, yeah.
Oh, I guess I don't read the agenda. I go straight to the meeting details.
Member Bolton. Member Senensi.
I'll vote for Old English font.
Oh, we're going to make it really difficult for people to read, huh? Then that won't be a language thing. That'll be a font issue. Okay, any other last comments from anyone? we'll thank Director Rotz for being with us on the floor today and for the research that you did. I'm supportive of doing the side-by-side and figuring that out. And mahalo, Deputy Corp Counsel, for being with us in our meeting, and staff for your very hard work. Okay, members, if there are no objections, we will defer this item. Any objections? Okay, wonderful. All right, it is 11:56, and we completed our agenda. So KŌMIKE Aloha ʻāINA is now adjourned.